Okay, so that's a quick dump in into how to do Java code. Basically, I'll explain both coding concepts and Java at the same time, but Java is not really that much. Java is just like what to write after what, before what, and some stuff that can be different from usual programming languages. So first, I'm gonna paste this code in here. This thing, you don't need to know what meaning of this is pretty much. This is just a way to define your coding environment, which is the first line basically means that the file you're working in, roughly speaking. So like you can name this place anything, like let's say like my file, you can name it I don't know, your name or something, literally anything. File name. That's why we usually this thing is the same as the file name. So public class static void main string args is basically where the start of your code is coming to. Everything you pretty much write in here, but use the tab button in here. So actually, wait a second. Yep, you don't even have to use tab if you go to here and you just press enter. It automatically does it. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create some variables to work with. So there are several ways, several types of variables. Each of them depends on what you want to work with or what you like desire to work with or what you are given to work with. Usually company will ask you what to work with, but in any case I'm gonna just define several variables of all the types that currently come to my mind. So we have integer a equals, let's say, 1. We have double. Double is the same as float, but it's just called double in Java. So we can say double is 2.0, and whenever we use double, that basically means we can use decimals after the dot. Oh, also one thing I forgot to do just now. Always at the end of code, use the semicolon. So you tell uh, the computer that they do not need to read the rest of this line because there's literally nothing in there. Okay, so the next thing, we also have string, but string is a complicated one. I kind of forgot how to use it, honestly. So the only way I usually use strings is basically whenever I use, let's say, system out, wait, system out print line. This is the only way I'm usually using strings, like only to display something. So I honestly cannot tell you much about the string variable because it's also not really a variable. That's a class of chars. By the way, chars is the next type. Char is one of the variables which we can assign a single symbol, which can be any letter, any symbol, but it's only one, just one. I don't know if it can be two. It cannot be two, as I remember. I haven't used chars really very much except for game developing. Anyways, we have these three variables in here. So once we define them, we don't have to define them again if we're just using them. Actually, also I did the wrong thing in here. Variables should not be the same. Remember that one. Whenever you define them. So now, what if we want to, let's say, do a plus b? We cannot do it just in here because the computer just doesn't understand what we're doing in here. We need to create a special variable that will store our result, which will be, let's say, int equals c, or no, r for result. I'm gonna add a comment in here. If you use double slash, that's gonna create a comment in Java specifically. Also in C++, but that's these are languages that I know use them. Okay, so we have a result, and let's say we want to store everything in this result. We type r equals a plus b, and then we add semicolon at the end. However, we want to display this thing, but first let's see what happens. I purposely typed it as a mistake, so now you see what mistake I mean. So first of all, you see, whoops, my bad. I forgot. You remember I said semicolon? I forgot to do it. Anyways, let's run it again. So purposely I did the mistake right here. You will see why. Error, not a statement. 6. Oh, shoot. I also did another mistake. I typed equals R. We just need to initiate the R right here, which means we're just defining the variable. By the way, you can define the variable, but you don't have to type equal sign from what I remember in Java. If it does a mistake, then you just have to do equals 0 or something like that, or equals none. Actually, it doesn't work in this. It only works in Python, actually. I messed up the language. Anyways, let's see what happens. Run char C equals F. Hmm? Uh-huh. Oh, my bad. I think it should be this. Anyways, let's remove the char. We're not going to use the char anyways in here. So the main mistake I did on purpose is here basically. This thing pretty much does nothing right now because it's just typed wrong. The only way you're gonna the one thing A is an integer, B is a double right here. We cannot add integer and double together. We have to have two variables of the same type. Or you can convert them later, but that's literally what you're gonna learn later as you go. And let's say b equals 2. Now if we do execute the code, we have no errors in here, compiled and executed in 1.3 seconds. That means that there is no errors, our code is right. Now what if we want to display this thing? I pretty much just copy it. System out print line. My result is. Also, always leave a space right here because sometimes it does a funny thing. I think you will notice why. Plus, and here we have our result. Actually, that's the wrong way to do it. I'm gonna do this in here, and then I'll do R. And then just to have a pretty space right here, I'm gonna do this. Okay. Execute. Okay, we got an error, and that's the same one I was talking about. Semicolon at the end. My result is 3. That's how we get it. One important thing, all the code should be aligned with each other. In here, in this specific thing, in this command line, always should be lined up with each other. There is one exception. Let's say we want to create a function. However, in order to create a function, you need to do it not in this place, but outside of this. So you remember we have like double brackets in here. This after the second one, you come here and you do public static integer addition. Let's say we want to create an addition function. The addition function will take two parameters, which is going to be integer a, integer b. There are also some funny ways to convert stuff while in the parameters, but it's some intermediate stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it because I only know how to do that in Python and C++, but that's a different story. They have different syntaxes and different methods of referencing and stuff. So I don't know why this thing. Okay. That's a wrong way to define a function. After you define the parameters, you do the brackets, the double brackets. The opening and the closing one. Now, it automatically moves us to the same place as here. And now you can do the pretty much just the addition thing. You can assign R. We can delete that from here. Int R. Now R equals A plus B. And then we do system out int ln. The banana number and then plus R after, and also semicolon on each one. I keep forgetting to add them. Please add them. return 0. It's always good to type return 0 at the end of your statement. I mean, not statement, sorry, a function, because in the end of the function, we don't want the program to constantly be running or expecting something. So pretty much typing this means that that's the end of the program, and computer should not expect any more instructions after that. So next thing. To call the function. Calling the function means we execute the function. So we type the function right here, but that doesn't mean that this function will execute because we need to call it. Basically, whenever we want to, let's say you have a storage or I don't know, a market, and you want it to automate it. But at the same time, people who work in there, they need the rest. So most of the time they will be at rest unless you call them pretty much. That's the logic of the programming in here. If you want to call a function, I mean, if you want the function to work, you need to call it because it's not going to work always. Because otherwise, if it work always, the computer will just burn. So let's do to call a function, you just call its name basically. You type add, and since we have parameters in the parentheses, you pretty much just need to insert them. So we have two pretty variables in here already. You don't need to use variables, by the way. You can just paste in numbers, like any numbers, like 5, I don't know, 2, 6. But in our case, we can also pass in variables, semicolon, and then execute it. Let's see what happens. Our code executed in a very pretty well. What if we want to make this function, let's say, update it? Let's say it will do all operations with these possible numbers. Let's say we want to call it add add minus. I forgot how to say the term for minus. Multiplication. Actually, I'll just type mult and div. So I'm gonna end up with results. So you know that variables can be constantly updated. So once you use it, then you print it, then you can reuse it again pretty much by typing r equals. So our second one was negative. So we're gonna do a minus b. Then we're gonna do the same system with line in here. We're gonna pretty much just copy paste it here. It's gonna display the same thing. The only thing we need to explain that the addition subtraction, I remember now. Subtraction banana number. Okay, now r equals a minus, wait, the third one was multiplication, a multiplied by b. The same one in here. R equals a divided by b, and the same one in here. So now this is going to be the multiplication, the division, and I'm going to update it here. Okay, now let's see what happens when we call this function. Error. I got an error somewhere. Huh? What's happening? Error. Cannot find symbol add. Oh wait, right. I forgot I changed the name of the function. I gotta just copy it here and then paste it in here. Okay, it executed in less than 2 seconds, which is good. Usually when your code executes in less than 3 seconds, it's very good unless you are a beginner. If you're a beginner, it's okay if your code executes even like in 5-6 seconds. So right now we have our terminal stuff in here. Usually your output will be in the terminal most of the time. That's pretty much I wanted to explain today. So if you have any questions, just type it to me personally or in the comment section of this video. I try to keep it as short as possible, less terminology as possible, and yeah, make sure your code is aligned like this. And always put a semicolon in. Don't be like me. Don't be like a Python and C# developer. Or not. I'm not even a developer officially. I'm just doing game developing. So I usually just check forums for stuff. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see ya.